Hello, good morning. I'm just quickly filming from my office, aka my bathroom. You've probably noticed that recently some of my videos have not actually been in here, which has been a bit of a relief, to be honest. I'm on some new medication from the hospital to see whether or not it will help me with my bile acid malabsorption. And some days it does, and some days it doesn't. It does really vary and it does fluctuate. So this week, it'd be really interesting actually if some women would, with bile acid malabsorption, would comment. But what I find is that when I'm on my menstrual cycle, because I'm in my early 40s, so I'm not going through the menopause yet. I'm probably like pre-menopausal. So as my children keep saying, oh, that's brilliant, I can have another brother or sister. And I'm like, no, I'm 41. I'm not planning on having any more kids, especially with my health conditions, even though ironically, when I was pregnant, a lot of my health problems did disappear. And again, that was probably because my body was being used as an incubator to basically like a life support machine for another human being. And therefore, it had to do everything it humanly could to keep not just me alive as the host, but also the baby. The moment I had my children, that is when all the health problems came back. And my body literally just started to fall apart and absolutely deteriorate. But living with bile acid malabsorption, I do strongly believe it is something I've been living with for years and years and years, even before I was formally diagnosed, even before I had my gallbladder removed 10 years ago. But what I have found is that during my menstrual cycle, like the week before and then the week during, my bowel movements are a lot worse. They are a lot more frequent. I always kind of know when my menstrual cycle is due because for the first 3 days before I'm due, I will literally be toilet bound. And a lot of people say, oh, that's just because you're a woman, and a lot of women go through that. But if that's the case, fine. But then if you're constantly doing that every single month, it could be related to my menstrual cycle. It could have been signs of endometriosis, which again, people have said, oh no, you can't have that because you have kids. Well, just because I've got endometriosis doesn't mean I couldn't have been a mother. There are women who are lucky enough to have children, but still suffer with a milder form of endometriosis. So because all of the symptoms I've had literally from about the age of 14 have pointed to very similar health problems, it's been really, really hard for the NHS to diagnose me. So first of all, it's hormonal, you're a woman, it's to do with your menstrual cycle. Then it was potentially endometriosis. Then it was, it's irritable bowel syndrome, which is IBS. Then they said, you could have leukemia. So I kept getting tested for that. Then I got tested for Crohn's, colitis, and the last thing they finally tested me for was they tested my gallbladder, which I then had removed. And then 3 years after my gallbladder was removed, they then decided to test me for bile acid malabsorption after having colonoscopy, which I've now had 2 of those, just to basically make sure that things haven't deteriorated even further, which I'm very lucky they have not. The only major flaw with obviously this health problem is the amount of times I have to go to the bathroom every single day, which is extremely debilitating. Now, I have planned to do something with my family this weekend, with it being close to Yule and also Christmas. And luckily, the place that I've chosen for them, I haven't won the lottery, okay? But it is like not a million miles away from where I live. And the only thing I can realistically do at the moment is what you call a staycation. But if anything does go wrong, then I will just take the financial hit. Well, this is something I've actually been saving up for over 10 years of my life. Well, not 10 years, but all be revealed at the weekend. And it would just be absolutely devastating if all I end up doing is being in the bathroom for a whole weekend. It's bad enough doing that on a weekly and daily basis as it is, but to have to endure that with my family being around me, which is why the event is sort of a home away from home, for a couple of hours, it is just absolutely worrying me, because I just do not want to have to endure or allow them to endure me saying, oh, hi, thank you for attending, but by the way, please give me an hour, I need to go to the bathroom. Talk amongst yourselves, entertain yourselves. So I've literally got like a whole sheet and list of things and activities for everyone to do. So if the worst thing happens, and unfortunately I do need to come home, or I am so debilitated I end up in the bathroom all weekend, then at least there are things in place that people can just sort of do amongst themselves. And unfortunately, I just will have to listen to what's going on outside the bathroom door, which is something I'm pretty much used to by now. But still, it would be nice to have at least an hour or two where, I can actually sit with my family and not have to be running to the toilet. So anyone who does suffer with bile acid malabsorption or any health problems, which are obviously going to cause you issues over the festivity, I can never say that word, over this time of year, which is mainly the time of year when people really, really, really want to sort of spend time with their nearest and dearest and their loved ones. Try and be safe, be well, and try not to get too stressed, because I do find that stress can obviously aggravate and make things worse. But if your family and loved ones understand and appreciate you, they're going to know that, this is a debilitating illness. And the same with any illness or disability that can be debilitating or, a bit of an obstacle. So see how you can work with one another to still enjoy the holidays. You don't necessarily have to be jetting off to the Bahamas or, taking a cruise on the Nile or anything like that. There are things you can do in your hometown or city or, places where you live, no matter where you are in the world. But the main thing I want to focus on is it's spending that time with your family. And just like during a lockdown, so many people never got that opportunity. They were literally having to kiss windows to express their love for one another and, record videos. And I think during that time, because people physically couldn't spend time with one another, in some ways we did become more closer. And now we've seemed to have all drifted apart again. Now that the government are saying, oh, well, we don't care if you get COVID this year or next year or in the future, deal with it. Whereas a few years back, you couldn't hug anyone, you couldn't kiss anybody, you couldn't even be in the same room with anyone who had this virus because of how contagious it was. So I'm not saying people with illnesses and disabilities are contagious. Usually the illness and disability will affect the host, but obviously illnesses and disabilities do affect your loved ones around you. And it would just be nice for everyone to appreciate the fact that that is the case, unfortunately, as well. And like I keep saying, don't worry about expensive gifts. Don't worry about anything, and getting into debt or, trying to pay for stuff that you don't really need. The main thing I really, myself personally, want to focus on is spending time with my family. And I just hope that with my health problem, that I'm not having to do that through a toilet door. So take care, everybody. And if you do want any further information about bile acid malabsorption or anything else, there is information online. There are links online. And I do have my videos that I've posted previously in the past online as well. And I think the best thing anyone can do about any illness or disability that people may not know a lot about because of the stigma or the taboo or just because of the way society is to open up and talk about it. Because if we don't do that, how are we ever going to help the future generation? I mean, I didn't even know what piloacid malabsorption was 10 years ago. And now I'm hoping that won't be the case in 10 years from now. I'm hoping people will know what this illness and disability is, what the warning signs are, and that hopefully maybe in a decade's time, there will be more prevention. I'm not saying there's ever going to be a cure, but prevention sometimes is better than a cure. And that is really what people need. It's to be educated, it is to be trained, it is to know the warning signs, just like with any illness or disability, so that they can have the ability to move forward, to have a future, to keep their independence and spend time with their loved ones, their friends, their family, and to not feel isolated and trapped and alone. So take care of you, all the best, and enjoy your holidays. And if you want to make any comments, please feel free to do so. But please bear in mind, anything that is abusive, discriminatory, or disrespectful to myself or anyone else will be removed. Thank you.